Yale is one of those colleges that the applicant doesn't choose, but the college chooses you.
Sometimes students have believed that if you don't apply early for Ivy League schools, you won't get in.
Doing extracurriculars in year 10.
What helped me craft the best application I could is just realizing that college applications like a business transaction. It's a two-way street. You have to understand what you have to offer. You have to understand what the college has to offer to you.
Attended a lot of career fairs, flew out to conferences to meet professionals in the industry. So that's how I formed my connections.
What's the benefit of specific Ivy League school? Or maybe is it in academics? Or is it in networking?
The first place is probably the connections you're going to make.
Were you successful in gaining some internships during your studies?
Like, you're not going to get into Goldman Sachs if you don't know people there. They're just going to throw away your CV.
What advice would you give to students, current high school students, maybe in 10th grade, maybe 12th grade, maybe even year 13, who are not currently applying to universities in US?
You have to shoot for the stars so you can land on the clouds.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to Haileybury Connect. My name is Yarasol and I'm a year 13 student at Haileybury.
And my name is Ayana. I'm also year 13 student at Haileybury.
And today we have Haileybury alumni, Yale students, Gaukhar and Danat. Welcome to our podcast. So let's start with Гаухар. So could you please explain what major are you doing and what A levels you took at Haileybury, and talk more about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Gaukhar. I'm a Haileybury Almaty class of 2020 alumna, and I'm currently in my 4th year at Yale University studying chemical engineering. So I came in as a chemical engineer, and I'll be graduating also as a chemical engineer, and I'll be going into the chemical engineering industry, which I find very exciting because I always loved chemistry and maths in school, and this is what I took at, for A-levels. And I also took biology and French and Russian for A-levels.
What about you, Danat?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us. I graduated Haileybury 3 years ago, class of 2022. I took math, further math, economics, and physics. Now I study economics at Yale. I'm interested in finance, so after graduation I'll be probably going to finance. And right now I'm a junior, so I have 1 more year left.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty exciting. So could you please tell why Yale? Why did you choose the school, and why did you apply to Yale in the first place?
And of course, everyone wants to know if you applied early action, early decision, regular decision for some of you.
Yeah, so I always knew that I wanted to go to America because I really loved the opportunity to explore various academic fields before committing to one. And I applied to Yale because it's one of the best universities in the world, and it's very well known for its liberal arts degree, where you can do whatever classes you want and choose your major only at the end of your 2nd year, which I found it very appealing because I was still, while I was applying, I was still kind of choosing what I wanted to do. Your second question was?
Was it early decision or regular?
Yeah, I applied early to Yale, early action. So you apply early, but you don't necessarily have to commit to the university.
Well, what were your feelings and when you got early notification that you got in, and you don't have to apply RD schools and, during all this stress?
And then from December you're free from school.
Yeah, not the case for me.
It was such a good feeling. I don't know. I think it was that level of happiness that I felt. I haven't felt no. Yeah, I was just really, really happy, and my family was very happy for me. And I did prepare all my essays for regular, but I didn't end up sending them out. But yeah.
What's the first person that you tell that you got into Yale?
It was 5 a.m. in Almaty because it comes out during the day in America. So I was there with my mom, and I was checking the portal and I immediately saw that the portal has changed. So I didn't even click the video because there's a huge video with bulldogs that comes out. And I just knew before I played the video, so I was like, Mom, I think that's it. And then I screamed, and my sister was also in the house, and she heard my scream, and she knew that I got in.
Wow.
That's so cool.
And about you, Danat?
Yeah, I was very intrigued by the liberal arts education as well. Trying to explore different fields was very appealing to me. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I was interested in math, physics, and economics. I didn't know exactly if economics was right for me or math was right for me. So taking different classes in different fields really allowed me to explore what actually intrigues me. And it really allows your curiosity to actually choose what really interests you. So that's what I like about the liberal arts university, liberal arts education. And Yale is one of those colleges that that the applicant doesn't choose, but the college chooses you. So I was very happy getting in there. And I think I accepted the invitation straight away when I got it. And my dad and my mom were the first people that I called. I think it was early in the morning as well. They came out at like 5 a.m., but I woke up at like 9. I couldn't wake up at 5. Yeah,
I didn't sleep the whole night waiting.
Relatable.
Yeah, they were very excited for me. And yeah, it kind of felt surreal because I applied to a handful of U.S. colleges, more than 10, and the Yale was the last one that I opened. And before Yale, none of the U.S. colleges accepted me, so I was on the wait list or I was rejected.
What were those colleges?
It was, I think, 7 Ivy Leagues and a few liberal arts colleges. So yeah.
So you applied regular decision?
Yeah, I applied regular decision.
Sometimes students have believed that if you don't apply early for Ivy League schools, you won't get in.
Yeah, I think it's, well, it might be a common misconception because the early decision, a lot of student athletes get early decisions, so they pump those numbers up. And the admissions rate for early decision is higher than the regular one. And also the thing is that people who are more set on a certain college apply early decision, so that makes them a better candidate. So you're kind of in the pool of a stronger candidates in the early decision. So it might be harder to get early decision because you are competing against stronger candidates than the regular decision. But it's a case-by-case basis. You can argue one way or another. So I don't really know, but it's just what I think. Yeah.
Did you apply early to any college?
Yeah, I applied to Williams College. I got deferred. Then I got waitlisted. I sent them a letter after I got waitlisted about that I still have interest in the college. Yeah, but I didn't hear from them back. But I've heard from friends that it's like a really small college in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
I think Yale was the right choice.
Yeah.
And both of you talk about liberal arts system. Could you say if you took specific course, maybe it opened your eyes to other perspectives? I know that both of you are still choosing the path that you chose in the beginning of your studies, but maybe you had the new perspectives from liberal arts system.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to explore various different subjects, specifically cognitive science, psychology, the arts. I took an amazing oil painting class at Yale, and I also made it a priority to learn about history and politics of the US, so I got to explore that as well. And I think taking these courses really opened my mind up, and it's also really fun to get to know the professors that teach in these courses, because it's one of the most renowned professors that you would ever meet. And I also love that at Yale, you can always grab lunch with your professor. You can really get to know them as people. So that was my experience taking different courses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, when you go into a real world, you gotta be well-rounded. You cannot be an expert in one field, because there are people that are, taking different courses in college kind of makes you think in a different way that it's more
it's more like narrow-minded, right?
It makes you more like open-minded to the world, and I think with all, especially humanities courses at Yale, a lot of them are seminar-based, so it's only around 12 to 14 people, so you get to interact in a more intimate space, and you really get to open up your perspective and learn from other students as well as the professor, and everyone comes from such a different and diverse background that it really grows your mind.
What do you think made you stand out in your application to Yale? What extracurriculars did you do? What honors did you earn? And basically, what was the factor, you think?
I think that what helped me craft the best application I could is just realizing that the college applications like a business transaction. It's a two-way street. You have to understand what you have to offer, and you have to understand what the college has to offer to you. So you have to show to them what you have to offer, and the best person that know you is yourself. So you have to understand yourself, you have to know yourself, and you have to be able to put it on paper, because the college admissions officer is going to read the paper, and they're going to get to know you through the paper. So sitting in front of my computer a lot of hours trying to brainstorm who I am, what I want to do, what I want to get out of the college, really helped me, I think, stand out, because I don't think that's something that a lot of college applicants realize. So you really have to craft your essays in the best way possible to actually succeed applying to the competitive colleges. And I believe that the essays are one of the most important parts, because the grades, they tell one story, but the essays, they kind of show you as a person, and that really sets you apart among the pool of the candidates. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If we look at the timeline, say 10th grade, right, or 12th grade, you land in Haileybury. So did you think about applying to universities? Did you think about applying to Yale, and what strategies do you have, or was it more natural?
Yeah, basically my decision to go to Haileybury was from the fact that I wanted to go to the US college, and I didn't have enough time in my previous school to make a good application, so I needed an extra year. So that's basically was the reason why I decided to go to Haileybury. And and it really enabled me to craft the best application that I could, and the teachers here were really helpful. They're really passionate about their subjects, and they could instill curiosity in you. And I think that's what really helped me in my college application as well. The kind of personal relationship with the teacher, they act as tutors and mentors to you. And that's really what's valuable about the Haileybury education.
Could you mention specific teachers who helped you?
Oh, Mr. Jacoby and Mr. McDougall. I was taking physics class with them. Mr. Jacob is just an exceptional guy, Cambridge graduate. I think he worked in finance after graduating, and then he got into teaching, and he's just very fun to learn from, has a lot of good stories to tell, and has like different perspectives about complex topics in physics that make you think about like the interplay of different fields and stuff. And in mathematics, I had Mr. Mohammed, Mr. Zhuk, and Mr. Burgess. In economics, I had Mr. Smith. Yeah, those are great teachers, great assets to Haileybury Almaty. I think half of them already left, but I'm sure that Haileybury got great teachers still.
And what about you, Gaukhar? What extracurriculars did you do in school? Maybe you participated in some CCAs?
Yeah, I danced since the age of 3. So in year 12, I opened my own dance CCA, and we choreographed different dances and performed for Haileybury-wide events. I was also very involved with the Almaty's Children's Hospice. Specifically, I was passionate about educating young cancer patients while they were in rehabilitation. In school, I was also very involved with student government, with the Kipling House, the best house, obviously. And I was always very, very busy in school, either studying or building my extracurriculars. And what I'm very thankful for is I remember when I really wanted to dance in school, and it was very, very easy to come up to the teachers and be like, hey, I want to open this club. And they were like, go for it. So definitely, if you have ideas, if you want to build clubs, if you want to organize events, Haileybury is the place to go, and it's going to be, your ideas are always going to be welcomed.
When did you start crafting your application, your essay, and who helped you with your application, if you mind sharing?
Yeah, I started the summer before I was going to apply, and I started thinking about what universities I wanted to apply for, and the first thing I did was go to the different universities' website and kind of reflecting what Danat said. It's a two-way conversation, so universities typically publish criteria they're looking for, and I think Yale really wanted to see impact and how you benefit the communities that you're in. So knowing that, I was kind of building my narrative off of that. So starting, and I also made sure to ask for recommendation letters as soon as we got back into school, the fall I was applying. So my teachers had ample time to write those. So it's really from the summer through the fall that I was writing my essays.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Danat?
Yeah, same for me. I started the summer before the college started. So it was summer of year 12. That's when I started writing essays. But I started taking the SAT a few months before that. I started taking it in spring. I took it 3 times over that time. And yeah, it's definitely, you have to do your best on every part of the college application, because you're not going to regret if you do your best. And they look at your application holistically. They look at everything. So try and do your best in all the parts of the application.
And definitely you have to start doing extracurriculars in year 10, and just do what you love. Don't do extracurriculars that you think will look good on paper, because it's pretty easy to tell if someone is doing it for the wrong reasons. And it's also important to keep your grades as high as you can. And that's just the baseline for US, is that you're top of your class, you're doing really well.
Yeah, and just later in life, you don't want to do something just to, get into college or get a job. You want to do something only because you love it. And that's how you're going to succeed. So.
And also, like, when you do something you love, you do it with all the motivation you have and with all the inspiration.
Yeah,
and you do your best, right?
Yeah.
And when just colleges see your motivation that you really want to do the things, I think you will find the right college for you. Not just that will be good on your certificate.
I think people are very anxious about, like the extracurricular that I did, the admissions office has probably seen it, 100 times. Yes, they have probably seen it, given how many thousands of applicants apply, but it's really your reflections and how you lived through that experience. That's what's unique to you, and it's very important to be reflective, introspective while you're writing your essays, and to make sure that these reflections also reflect who you are as a person and what you have to bring to the campus when you arrive.
Mm-hmm. So say you finish your applications, you got into Yale. The first day at Yale, the first day at the US, you step your foot in the campus, and you see all the students, all the freshmen. What are your feelings on the first day, after 1 week of classes, and like after finals, and after finals basically? Maybe like your expectations before, and like what you saw actually.
And now it's a couple of months before you graduate, 1 year for Danat. And how the experience changed throughout these years?
Yeah, I think first day everyone is super excited. I was pretty anxious because I came to the US with only one suitcase, so I wanted to make sure that I had everything in my dorm. So I was frantically ordering on Amazon and figuring out the delivery system in the US. And also everyone was just so friendly. Everyone was so interesting as well, and it's really cool to see how quick friend groups form during those couple of weeks as you're starting. And Yale has this really unique system where you basically have a residential assistant called a first-year counselor, which is a senior in your college that supervises a group of people and really leads them through their first year. So that first week at Yale was really getting to know the curriculum and what to expect for my 4 years at Yale with this group of people and with that senior, which was really cool. And one of my best friends is still from that Froco group that I had. And we had around a week of buffer time before classes started to really make sure we're settled and we know what we're doing. And the first few weeks of classes, everyone is trying to understand what classes they want to take. And we have this period called shopping period where you can take as many classes as you want, and you basically shop around and see if you like things, and you can remove things from your worksheet. So that was really cool as well. I was very excited and was also very overwhelmed by the amount of courses. I think there's 2,000 of courses offered every
2,000.
Yeah. So it's definitely that feeling of,
look,
I want to make sure that I'm taking the most interesting courses, but obviously it's not possible to take everything.
Do you think you have like a FOMO or anything like that?
I think that's a very common feeling at Yale, just because there's so many things that are going on at one time, and you just have to choose what you want to do, but there's always something that you're going to miss out on. But as you grow and as you pick the things that you're interested in, your niche, you kind of stop feeling that FOMO.
Yeah, Yale does a great job in forming a community and making everyone feel included. When I first arrived, I basically every student, every freshman lives on campus. Their freshman year, they have to. And I got into a suite of 4 people, and they're still my best friends to this day. And as Gaukhar said, you're assigned a first-year counselor, senior in your college, and they kind of guide you for that transition from high school to college, and from the and to Yale and New Haven. And having that group of people and having a first-year counselor really helped me to transition. And also before the classes start, you have an orientation week where you take part in the orientation programs. Most Americans do I don't remember the name, but they go hiking somewhere in the New England.
It's called foot.
Yes, and international students do the international orientation program. That's how I made a lot of my friends. You really get to know probably all the international students in your class. So yeah, Yale is really like a bubble of really exceptional and really great people that you get to know throughout your college career. And I believe that's something that really is the value of the college education, is getting to know people, getting to know your friends, your professors, making as much friends as you can, because those connections, those relationships are going to last you a lifetime, and they're going to help you later in life. Because you can get a college education online. You don't have to go to college. You can take the same courses online. You can learn the same things, but what really matters is the relationships that you're going to make.
What challenges did you face during the freshman period? I heard a lot about freshman 15 and also a lot of stories about academics. And what were your stories?
Freshman 15 is about gaining weight?
Yeah.
No, I have a trouble gaining weight. I'm trying to gain
Can't
weight.
relate to that.
I'm
Big
trying.
problems.
Yeah, I'm trying to gain weight for the past couple of years, and yeah, I just can't. So no, that wasn't a problem for me. But yes, certainly a transition, because in high school, everyone's looking after you, right? The teachers look after you. They want you to succeed. Even if you don't ask for their help, they're going to help you anyway. So it's kind of this transition from high school to college, where in college you really have to put yourself out there, and you really, if you want to do research, you have to show interest in it. You have to reach out to the professors. So you really have to show that you have interest, and you're going to get it. So that was a big transition for me, having to put myself out there, put myself out of the comfort zone. But yeah, so that was probably the challenge that I faced my freshman year. But you kind of get accustomed to it, because it's the Yale community, and it really makes you get up to speed with it. So yeah, that was probably the challenge that I faced.
So yeah, there is a big pressure from studying in university, especially in Ivy League school as Yale. So compared to studying A-level, of course it is harder than the actual Kazakh school system, of especially for you, Danat. You transferred from the Kazakh school. So how hard it is actually studying in Yale? Do you ever pull all-nighter, or just study until your nose bleed?
I would be lying if I said that we don't. Definitely, I think my first year I was very surprised by the amount of time that I spent in the library, just because in my eyes, college was about doing extracurriculars and socializing, but the reality is everyone has to study, because it's first and foremost a university. And I think a challenge for me was that my brain was pulled so many different ways, just because I was taking classes that I've never taken before, and I had to do a lot of writing, academic writing, and I haven't done that a lot because I was always very STEM oriented. So I think there was a pressure with that, making sure that I was really on par with everyone, with my abilities, and was developing holistically and well-roundedly.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not a chemical engineering major. I'm an economics major, so I don't study.
I see Danat in the library a lot, so he's...
Yeah, I do study, actually.
Do you drink coffee a lot?
I started drinking in college.
Coffee,
I
man.
hate the taste of coffee, but I just have to drink it.
No.
But I started drinking a lot of matcha lately as a little alternative, but it's not as effective as coffee, unfortunately.
And the coffee in our dining hall is really bad. It's awful.
Yeah.
But you still have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can basically choose your meal plan in a way that you can get points that you can spend at the cafes on campus. And I just always run out so fast because I get a coffee every day.
How many cups a day? If we're
just one. Yeah, maybe with a matcha on top.
So if the coffee in campus is very bad, do you often visit the city, like see other perspective of studying America, like the life in the US itself?
So New Haven, it's a very small city. It's definitely just a college town. But the location of New Haven is amazing because you have New York, which is a 2-hour train ride away. And you also have Boston, which is like a 2.5-hour train ride away. So sometimes when life gets a little too much at Yale, I escape to New York and just spend a day there. And a lot of my friends are in New York, so it's really nice to be able to visit them. And my favorite event at Yale is called the Harvard-Yale football game. It's an annual game where the Yale and the Harvard football teams compete against each other. And it's just such a remarkable experience to see all the alumni from all over the world coming to support Yale. And you see familiar faces on campus that graduated already. So I think through that beautiful exchange, you get to meet a lot of people from other from the Harvard schools. And Alexenia, who was on this podcast, shout out to her. We meet up every year during the game.
What do you have to say to those Harvard students who always talk about how Yale is the second, or maybe like the last in the Ivy list?
Well, yeah.
Imagine it's a rap battle.
Well,
Actually,
what do we scream at the football game? Just like Harvard sucks. It doesn't, but there are little chants that people do during these games, and they usually yell "Save T School," which is just so rude.
Yeah, we're school on Monday.
They have school on Monday. So the football game is usually right before Thanksgiving break for Yale students. But Harvard students, they get a shorter Thanksgiving break, so they have to go to school the next Monday. So we yell school on Monday. So it's a very friendly exchange.
Yeah, definitely. Well, actually, all the people that I met at Harvard, they're really sweet. They're really so good. Yeah, so...
It's not actually a rivalry. It's more of like make friends at Harvard.
What kind of connections in the freshman year did you try to make? So did you try to network with different people to get internships, or did you try to find friends? I think you don't have sororities and fraternities, right? Or do you?
We do, yeah.
And like, did you try to enter one and maybe try to find people to talk to and connect?
I chose not to participate in a sorority just because I was very happy with the group of friends that I made my first year, and I felt like I couldn't find the extra time for a sorority. But some of the connections that I try to make is I really wanted to do research my first year summer in the field of chemical engineering because I wanted to get hands-on experience and really understand what engineering was about. So a lot of my networking was with graduate students at Yale, and as well as professors who I haven't met yet, who haven't taught me, and who had labs that aligned with the fields that I was interested in. And then later down the Yale road, I was interested in going into industry and seeing the manufacturing side of things. So I attended a lot of career fairs, flew out to conferences to meet professionals in the industry. So that's how I formed my connections.
What about you?
Yeah, freshman year when I first got into college, it was like also an application process for the clubs you want to get into. So I wanted to get into some finance clubs. I got into one, and basically that was probably the place where I formed the most like kind of professional connections my freshman year. You get to attend lectures on finance. You get to talk to people, the professionals in the field, and also the peers that are interested in finance. You kind of also form connections with them. So that was probably the place where I formed the most connections my freshman year. And freshman year really, you don't really, like, a lot of people don't get internships their freshman year. Like, after my freshman year, I did study abroad in London at London School of Economics. It's a pretty popular destination for Yale students. You can, like, randomly see Yale people everywhere in London, which is funny. A lot of people go there. And yeah, I did 2 courses for 6 weeks. So 6 weeks I stayed in London. It's a great city. London School of Economics is also an exceptional school. I really liked studying there, and I don't know, I didn't see much of the difference between the American approach to education and the British approach, at least in the classes that I took. Yeah, maybe because the professors were US educated. I think all of them had a PhD from like Princeton or Yale. But yeah, so that's what I did my freshman summer.
So how do you approach for network? Because I believe that a lot of people feel shy, like, oh, what will I do? Like, I'm just an undergraduate student. How can I approach postgraduate, like masters, PhDs? So do you just say, hey, my name is Gaukhar and Danat?
And also, like, in addition to this question, I heard that a lot of Americans are super extroverted, and like Kazakh, even though they think they're extroverted, they're introverted in US. So how did you face that?
Yeah, well, the thing is that people love talking about themselves. It's in their nature. So if you approach something and ask them to share their experience, they're most likely going to say yes. And the worst thing they're going to do is not reply to you or just say no. So there's nothing you're going to lose. So if you really want to learn about something, you have a genuine curiosity about it, you really have to go out there and approach those people. And that's how people get internships, you know, for example, in finance. Like, if you're going to, I don't know, into Goldman Sachs, like, you're not going to get into Goldman Sachs if you don't know people there. They're just going to throw away your CV. So you really have to make connections, and people are eager to make those connections with you. They want to talk about themselves. Maybe they want to learn about you. Yeah, so go there and talk to them. Don't be shy. Yeah,
Definitely don't be shy, because probably at some point in their careers, they were also students like you, and they were reaching out to these higher ups. And just make sure that you're genuine with your intentions, and you research the company or whatever it is that you're trying to get really well. So you basically do your homework beforehand and you have talking points. About your question, I really love that part of American culture. I think it was very shocking at first, because I was a little bit more shy at first, but I really got to open up by making so many friends and being, like, as Danat said, leaving the comfort zone. And I think it's really cool when you walk around campus and you see your friends and you share a few words and talk about your day and keep going. I think that's really what makes Yale such a beautiful place to be at, because you make those connections and everyone is so happy to talk to you.
So were you successful in gaining some internships during your studies?
Yeah, so my first year summer, I won a research fellowship, a grant to stay in New Haven and do research with a Yale lab in the field of nanomaterial synthesis. And that really set up my interest in the field of semiconductors and nanomaterials. And for my sophomore summer, I got an internship for a solar panel manufacturing company in the US called First Solar. And I got that through a conference that I attended at Yale. And I got to talk to a guy from Princeton who worked at the company, and we really bonded over the Ivy League education, and that, I think, really helped me get the job. And then my third year summer, I got an internship with Micron they're a semiconductor manufacturing firm in the US as well. And yeah, that's kind of my progression. I think I stayed in the field of semiconductors throughout the years.
What was your journey in crafting your CV and gaining networks, and like how many internships did you apply to, and actually how many you ended up getting?
In terms of crafting my CV, I started doing research pretty early at Yale, and I also joined a few pre-professional clubs for engineering. And through these clubs, you really do gain a lot of experience, especially how to manage projects, how to connect with people. So that's how I built my CV. And of course, as I did internships, that also went on my CV further down the road. I applied to a lot of internships. I talked to a lot of people at conferences, did a lot of interviews, and did get some. The trick is to just apply smartly, make sure you tailor your resume to the jobs that you're applying for, and reaching out to people, asking for referrals never hurts, and especially in fields like finance, that will give you the upper hand. Yeah, that was my experience.
What about you, Danat? How was your internships application process, and like where did you land in terms of internships?
Yeah, sure. My sophomore summer, I was here. I was interning in Haileybury Finance. I was in their investment banking division. So what investment banking basically does is they're trying to seek capital for their clients. They're conducting the initial public offering. They're doing everything that's connected with the financial markets. They kind of serve as a financial advisory to their clients. So I did that my sophomore summer. It was a great learning experience. It was a small team of like 7 people. I got to know them well, and they gave me a lot of responsible tasks, which is really great for the learning experience. You want to take as much responsibility as you can. And when you go out there, you have an internship, you really have to ask for as much work as you can, because they will remember you as a hardworking person, and they maybe will extend you a return offer, for example. And it's just a great learning opportunity. You want to make the most out of it. And this junior summer, I'll be doing kind of the same thing, but in New York now. And yeah, regarding crafting your resume, at Yale we have a careers office, so there is a lot of help regarding that. So you always can reach out. They can assign you a person to help you with your resume. So it's not a big deal. And yeah, as long as you do at least something in college and do whatever you like, you can always put it on your resume, and try to do something that's connected with whatever you want to do in the future, because it's really competitive out there. Also for the international students, even more competitive, because they have to sponsor you, they have to pay money for you, so that you can work for them, basically, so that they can extend you a sponsorship. So it's in their self-interest to rather hire an American than an international.
Yeah. And on the topic of resumes, a lot of the job posting these days have AI screenings. So go to those career centers, use those websites that read your resume to make sure you get through that AI screening. So yeah, that's another tip that I have. With that.
Danat, as I understand, you also do computer science. Is that right?
Yeah, I did it my first 2 years. Then I switched to just economics. Yeah, I took a couple of courses in computer science, and I realized that's kind of not my thing, so I'm just focusing on economics more now. but yeah, again, the beauty of liberal arts education is that you can take whatever you want. So
as I understand, when you first went as a freshman in Yale, you were undeclared, and then like you can choose your major and switch between them, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you declare at the end of sophomore year.
At the end of sophomore year. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so
a
you
lot
have
of
a
time.
lot of time to choose.
yeah, then you can always change the major actually after you declare it.
Oh.
You can change, you can add, you can subtract, you can do whatever.
Do you think, say it, you transferred from computer science to economics, and do you think that like you missed out of some classes, of some opportunities you would have if you had chosen economics initially?
I think that engineering education itself is very versatile. Like if you're taking computer science, if you're taking any kind of engineering, you can apply it anywhere. You can go into like, if you want to go into finance after studying computer science, you can easily do so. But if you do economics, it's harder to like, I don't know, find a job in like more tech or more quantitative kind of fields. And so yeah, I think I'm kind of missing out a little bit because I'm not taking computer science, more quantitative kind of major. But still, I don't think that's something I really want to do in the future. So I'm not focusing on that. So I think I'm making a right decision. Yeah.
And Гаухар, did you somehow change your major, or from the beginning till the end you stick to chemistry?
I was considering doing biomedical engineering, but because I was still unsure about the industry that I was going to go into and I wanted to keep my options open, I chose to do chemical engineering just because it opens opportunities in the energy sector, in the pharmaceutical industry, in semiconductors. So I wanted to keep those options open. And because chemical engineering is the biggest major in terms of requirements, you have to do 26 classes for it. I committed pretty early for chemical engineering.
In terms of the campus of Yale, do you think that like US campuses, specifically Yale, are more dangerous to be in than in Kazakhstan campuses, in Kazakhstan unis? As a country itself, US, how safe do you feel about it?
And also, as we know, you are assigned to a specific college. Are you both in the same college, and how, if not, how they differ regarding safety, maybe dining options?
I think the Yale campus itself is very safe. But on the topic of safety, I think no matter where you are, you just have to be rational. You have to make the right choice in terms of protecting your safety. So I don't think I can speak about what is more dangerous than the other, but college campuses tend to be pretty safe. And about your question, a really unique trait of Yale is its residential college system. There's 14 different colleges, and you randomly get assigned one before you come. And we are in different colleges. My college is called Ezra Stiles, and his is Benjamin Franklin. They have very different architectures. Especially my college is known for its brutalist architecture, whereas Danat's college is more new. I think it was built not long ago.
Yeah,
so they have air conditioning. We don't. And different colleges have different amenities. For example, my college has a dance studio, an art gallery, whereas other colleges have pottery studios and like cinemas. So it's really its own microcosm in every college, but you can basically go to any college and use their facilities.
But you cannot switch between colleges. It's just randomly assigned and you stick to it until you graduate.
You actually can transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a really good argument for why you want to go
Maybe you hate
live
your
in the other
roommates.
Maybe building in Benjamin Franklin is better.
It is
much
better.
Or maybe can you not live in campus, like rent some apartment with your friends?
So the first 2 years, it's mandatory to stay in your college, and then you can move off campus after the second year.
Yeah.
But I chose to live on campus all 4 years because I just really love my college.
And I believe if you're in a sorority or fraternity, then you live off the campus in a house, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, if you decide to.
If you decide to.
Could you talk about more, if you know, like, could you please talk more about fraternities and sororities if you try to engage in them, if you know a lot about them? Because I think like in Kazakhstan, like Central Asia, it's not as popular and people don't know much about it.
Yeah,
How to enter, challenges for entry.
Everything we know about them is like from movies when there is like some football guys and fashionable blondes.
Yeah, my sophomore year, I had a suite mate, and he was in a Jewish frat, and he was like, one day, you should try rush this frat, you'll be a good addition to it. Rushing a frat just means the process of joining the frat. Like, sure, Jewish frat, why not? That's what I've always wanted. And yeah, so the rush process is, it's pretty interesting. So the members of the frat are called brothers, so it's like the brotherhood. And you go have like dinners with them, so you can sit like with the brother one-on-one, you know, talking to them. It's like a networking session. I don't know. They're trying to figure out if you'll be a good member of their frat. So you like attend a lot of those things. You try to meet people in the frat, try to meet as much as you can. And then you attend their parties. They're usually in their houses. So it's like just a lot of people in there. You also talk to them, you know, the frat members and whatnot, and just Yale students trying to rush the frat as well. So you talk to them, and then after all this process, you get a bid or not. So the bid is if they want you in the frat or not. So there's like a voting process or something. I did not get a bid, so I ended up not going there. But also I think you have to pay to be in the frat. You have to pay like $500 every semester to just be in the frat, because they buy the alcohol, they have to rent their house and stuff. So yeah, and there's a lot of frats. There's a Jewish frat. There's the football frat. There is a lacrosse frat. You know, it's an Asian frat. You know,
Kazakh frat open up next year.
Yeah, hopefully we'll make one next year.
Or at least Central Asian frat.
Yeah.
So frats and sororities are just like community with the same interest or like same background.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of friends, a bunch of guys, you know, a brotherhood, basically.
What trials did you have to face in order to, in the process of joining the frat?
Like, there are, like, frats do it differently. There's some frats, like, you can see a guy walking in, like, a banana suit, like, around campus. It's, like part of the process of joining the frat. Or, like, you can see a guy or a girl in the lecture asking, like, ridiculous questions. Yeah, it's, like, different kinds of tasks. They're different from frat to frat. I mean, I'm not that like knowledgeable about that. I mean, I've never been in a frat. Just what I've heard, what I've seen. Yeah.
So of course people like to like stick to the same people that they like you said, Asian frats. But do you have something Kazakh there? Like if you miss your home, maybe you can eat Kazakh food or talk to other Kazakh students?
Yeah, I think we have a really good community of Kazakhs. There's around 7 of us. There's also a few grad students from Central Asia. And there is a organization at Yale called Asian Crossroads, where they talk about politics in Central Asia, and there's a few social events as well. And Yale has a few cultural houses, and that's different from the frats, but it's basically a space to share your culture. So there's an Asian American, a Hispanic, a Black house, and I'm affiliated with the Asian house, so if I wanted to, I could host a dinner where we eat Central Asian food. So there is a guaranteed space where you can share parts of your culture. Yeah.
So also you said that you studied some language A-levels. Did you continue to explore them, study them in Yale?
Yeah, so I did French A-level in Haileybury, and I reached a really good level with that. So when I came to Yale, I wanted to study a different language, and it's actually a requirement to study a foreign language at Yale. So I took Italian my first year, and I really enjoyed it.
And you, Danat, did you choose something?
I took Russian.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. I think all of us did Russian A-level just to get that.
Yeah, no, the thing is that at Yale you have to take, to pass the language requirement, you have to take 3 semesters of language. And it's a pain because you have to show up every day in the morning for an hour and a half or something. So I just decided
It's only 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I just decided to do like an advanced class in Russian and just be done with the requirement. I didn't really want to learn a new language.
At MIT, it is optional to visit lectures and go to courses. But if you pass an exam, it's fine. What about Yale? Is it mandatory?
Only for some classes, if they specify that part of the grade is attendance, you usually have to attend. I think attendance is very important for those small lecture classes that I mentioned. But yeah, you can definitely not go to class and pass the exams, but why would you do that if you have such amazing professors teaching you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the seminars you basically have to attend. If you can, you need to email a professor with big lectures. Technically, you don't have to attend them at all. Like, no one's going to, like, keep a track of that. But I had a econometrics class with a pretty, like, accomplished professor. It was, like, 40 people. And every day he had an attendance sheet that he printed out and he would pass around the class. That was the first time I've seen that. And yeah, so sometimes you have to attend the class even if it's a big lecture, but yeah, you can get away with not going for whatever reason, but it will come back to you during the final season. So attending the lectures and doing the notes, it's really crucial for succeeding during the finals or the midterms.
I also know that through advanced placement, that's AP American exam, you can get a credit for some courses. Could you do the same by passing your A-levels?
I have experience with math, but you still have to take a placement exam before you come to Yale. And if your knowledge is high enough, you can opt out of some classes. And I think that my baseline A-level knowledge helped me with skipping one of the classes that I had to take. And same goes for all the STEM subjects, all the foundational STEM subjects.
Yeah, you don't get a credit, you just skip the class. So throughout the Yale education, you have to take 36 credits. So if you have like an A-levels in math, you just skip through certain classes and take a harder class, but it doesn't add to your credits. So you still have, like, if you come into Yale, you still have 0 credits like everyone else.
What are some pros and cons of Yale you noticed during these years?
Also, you know some student from Harvard, maybe you can compare with other schools. Like maybe if you know the student that also applied to Williams and now studying in Williams, from their feedback, what are the differences?
Well, definitely the location is, I think, the biggest difference. We are situated in a small college town. There's nothing much to do. And for example, if you study at Columbia, you have a whole New York City to yourself. So it's the biggest difference probably. and so the opportunities therefore are kind of different. But it's also, you know, you're kind of in your own community, in your own bubble. You get to know everyone in your university. So that's I think the best part about studying in a small university. You're kind of focused on studying rather than, you know, having fun, as you can do in New York City. Yeah, and in Harvard is near Boston, so, but they're also like in Cambridge, and it's it doesn't have like that many, you know, fun things to do as New York has. So it's more like you're also kind of focused on studying. But I would say that the Harvard's location is better than Yale's. That's for sure. If I had to choose, if I had to move Yale to Cambridge and Harvard to New Haven, I would certainly do that. Yeah. But yeah, Williams, I've just heard that it's in the middle of nowhere in Massachusetts. They had cows running around.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty fun.
What about you, Гаухар? What do you like and what do you not like about Yale?
I think the world is really your oyster at Yale. There's so many open doors for you. There's also so many funding opportunities if you want to go study abroad at another university, or if you want to pursue some sort of independent research project. It's very easy to get funding and support for that. Obviously, the classes are amazing. The people around you are very inspiring. And the amenities are great. I spend a lot of time in the dance studio because it's right there at my footsteps. And like whatever interest you have, you can explore it at Yale. I think there's very few disadvantages. And I think probably Yale location, it's a very small college town. And just I think Yale is so big in its offerings that you can't do everything. And sometimes that's sad.
You have too many choices, so...
Too many choices, yeah. Like every day is just not like the other day. And you can go to so many different things.
So you mentioned about Yale being in a small town and that you don't have many fun opportunities like living in New York. How Yale students have fun? What do they do?
We go to New York. Yeah, it's just a two-hour train ride away, as I mentioned. So a lot of people go there for a little weekend trip. I'm not gonna lie, there isn't a lot of time to have fun. I think most of the fun comes from clubs. From my first year, I joined a dance organization, and we put up a really big show at the end of every semester. So that's a big outlet for me, going to the weekly practices. So I think student organizations and just chill hangouts with your friends are the ways that Yale students decompress. And we have a really good food scene in New Haven. We have a really big Italian immigrant population, so we have really authentic pizza and pasta places. So going to restaurants is also another way.
I know in Houston there is a restaurant called Almaty. Like, is there something similar like in New Haven?
I don't think there is something in New Haven. There's a lot in New York. My favorite Central Asian restaurant is Farida restaurant. Shout out to them. Yeah.
I think there is also Tara in Chicago.
I've been, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. It's really good.
Can you compare like Tara in Almaty and in Chicago?
I haven't been to Tara in Almaty.
Oh no.
You have to like compare them.
But it's like your own Kazakh people cooking the food, so it's ought to be good.
And in terms of career opportunities, what do you think your future career plans will be? Are you intending to pursue PhD, maybe master's, or go into industry right away after graduating?
So I'm going into industry right away, and I'm returning to the company that I interned at over the summer in the field of semiconductor manufacturing, specifically memory chips.
So when did you start reaching out to them that you want to get a full-time job?
I attended a conference for women engineers. It's a really huge national convention in America, and that happened, I think, in the fall of my junior year. And on the spot, I got to interview with them, and when I came back from the conference, I got the offer. So really going to conferences and talking to people face to face can shorten a process that would otherwise take months to a few days, in my experience.
When you got an offer, obviously you were very happy, right? And like compare that feeling to when you just got into Yale. Like both getting job and like getting into top university are competitive. Like which one was like more brought you more happiness?
Probably getting into Yale, just because it was such a big dream of mine, and it was something that I worked hard towards for so long. But getting a job was also felt really good, just to know that I have something to do after graduation and won't be leaving the country.
I think it's all connected, because many people like want to study in a good university because they believe that after that they will get a good job.
100%.
So yeah. And Danat, you have your dream job?
Well, it's not really a dream job, to be honest. It's just a job. Finance is something I enjoy. I worked in finance over the summer here in Almaty. Something I see myself doing. So, yeah, that's you can call it a dream job. And regarding what was Gaukhar talking about, like in finance, you have to attend the coffee chats. You have to talk to people. That's what I was saying earlier. And what was the other questions?
Like, are you intending to pursue masters, maybe PhD?
Yeah, right. I don't see any reason right now to do it straight away after the college, because I think you really have to have a vision first before pursuing an MBA or going to a grad school, because right now I'm planning on going to a corporate world, and doing an MBA straight away after college with no experience is kind of a waste of money and waste of the potential connections that you're going to make. Because I believe if you want to do an MBA, you first have to have a solid experience, kind of to create a more meaningful connections with your professors, learn something that's more tailored to your experience, is going to help you in the future. Because doing it after an undergrad is just learning and thinking necessary stuff, and you cannot connect it to a real life experience. Yeah, I mean, depends. Like if you're going to like a grad school and then you tend to do a PhD, it's different. But I don't want to do that. So going to like a business school for me is not an option. I don't think that's something that's good for now.
Do you plan to return to Kazakhstan to work here, or just get some vacation from the constant studying and international community?
Yeah, I think at this age it's very hard to tell where life will take me. But I'm always very open to working anywhere. After graduation, if you do a STEM degree at a university in America, you get 3 years of work experience guaranteed. So you can stay for 3 years and then choose to go anywhere else. Or if your company is willing to sponsor you, you get that visa prolonged. So I think taking that opportunity, taking those 3 years working in America is very beneficial for people usually.
Yeah, I agree. I believe it's kind of a waste of education to go back straight away after getting education, to going back to Kazakhstan, because you're not going to get the same work experience as you can get in the United States. So first, like for myself, I want to get a good work experience in the United States before coming back to Kazakhstan. And I mean, I don't know if I'll come back, but I really want to. So, yeah, but first I want to get some work experience there before coming back.
What are some visa and green card options in the United States for the international students who graduate? I know there is a talent visa, there are like work visa you can get, or maybe like green card lottery.
Yeah, so I actually had to read up a lot on that, given it's my final year. As I mentioned, you get an extension of your student visa after graduating. If you do a humanities degree, it's only 1 year. If you do a STEM degree, it's 3 years. And then if you find a company that is willing to sponsor you, they're basically going to start the process of entering your name into a work visa lottery. And people usually do that during those 3 years. And yeah, it's very crazy to think that work visa is a lottery. I think there's around a 30% chance of getting it. So
so it's not guaranteed that you will get.
No, it's not guaranteed.
Wow.
And once you get that H-1B work visa, I'm not sure, I think it's valid for 5 to 8 years. And then when you already are in the US for so long, I think when you're there for more than 5 years, you can apply for a green card. But if you have a PhD, if you are I'm talking specifically in the STEM field, if you have a lot of research publications, if you have patents, you can apply for an O1 extraordinary ability visa. And I think that's a green card, but you have to fact check me on that. So those are some of the ways you can get a visa.
Yeah, I think in a general green card lottery, Kazakhstan has one of the highest acceptance rates, like 6% every year. Like Mexico has. I think Mexico is just cannot even apply for a green card for the lottery. So there are some countries that have more favorable conditions and some that don't.
Yeah, this is called the diversity program visa.
Yeah.
And that's like a separate thing from your work related things.
Is this kind of a randomness? Is it purely random? Is it based on your abilities and maybe your college degree?
It's purely random, but if you have a advanced degree, such as a master's or a PhD, you'll be weighted higher, I think, in the lottery for the work visa.
Yeah, no, I really don't like all the system, to be honest. Like, they're wasting so much potential. Like, all the Harvard grads, or like the MIT grads,
So if you don't get the visa, you have to return to your country.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you can do a master's degree or a PhD and then you do the process all over again. Or if your company has locations abroad, you can go work there if your company is willing to transfer you.
Also, are there like cases when company can pay for your master's degree because it's very valuable for their workers to get the good education?
Yeah, very common for master's degrees, specifically in MBAs, which is another benefit of going into corporate before pursuing an advanced degree, because you can get that covered. And similar for me, I want to know what I want to do my master's in. In the STEM fields, you can choose to pursue a more STEM-oriented career, or you can go to managers and VC level route. So that choice will dictate what kind of master's degree I want to pursue.
Would you like to apply to master's to Yale again, or have another experience in different college, university?
It will depend on what kind of advanced degree I'll be applying for, but I definitely want to try out a new campus, because I can always return to Yale for alumni events and Harvard-Yale game if I wanted to. Yeah.
What do you think the value of getting Ivy League education compared to, say, it's Williams College, right? Other liberal arts small colleges, or maybe other technical research universities like Georgia Tech or or Purdue and so on. What's the benefit of specific Ivy League school? Or maybe is it in academics, or is it in networking opportunities?
Yeah, it's definitely. I think the academics is not the first place. Definitely, the first place is probably the connections you're going to make. Like the professors, you can always reach out. You can learn a lot from them. Like for example, I'm doing a research for a professor at a school of management, and I'm just sitting in his office, and I can ask like any kind of questions I want, and he's always going to answer. And that's a great learning opportunity. That's not what you're probably going to get in any other college, right? For example, in a state school, there are a lot of people, so much less of the research opportunities, and just being around the exceptional people. And we had our graduates are like Supreme Court justices or United States presidents, and really exceptional people, the CEOs of the big companies. And it's a big chance that you're going to know them or you're going to become one, right? So it's really about the people. All the value in the Ivy League degree comes from the connections and not from the academics. Again, you can get the same academics from buying the books and reading them here in Kazakhstan, and it's all about the people.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to students, current high school students, maybe in 10th grade, maybe 12th grade, maybe even year 13, who are not currently applying to universities in US?
Study really hard, make sure your grades are good, start doing the SAT early to make sure you have enough time to get the score that you want. Do extracurriculars that you're genuinely passionate about and that you're good at, and really focus on impact and bringing good to the communities that you're in. Give yourself enough time to write your essays and apply. Build really good connections with your teachers so that they can really vouch for you during the application process, and just stay true to yourself, and aim high and apply.
Yeah, understand that the college is not the end goal. It's just the means of whatever you want to achieve afterwards in your life. So, and whatever you do in high school, don't do it for the sake of the college. Do it just because you love doing something. So that's how you're going to be the best at whatever you want to do. Because there's always going to be a person that loves something, that has dedication to something, that's going to outsmart you every time. So you really have to dedicate yourself to something that you truly love. And regarding the SAT and the language tests, try and do them early on. You don't want to be too late. And I believe the essays are the most important part. So try to nail them down quickly. And I think that the college application process is as much as the quantity game as much as it's a quality game, but don't compromise on quality going after the quantity. And like when you're applying to colleges, I think the best strategy is to pick out the best 5 colleges that you really want to go to and write the best essays that you can for them, and then like pick out like 10 other colleges that you would also want to go to, and I'm sure that those essays for those 10 colleges are going to be reusable, so you can use the 5 essays that you already wrote and like reuse them. And so try and write the best essays that you can for the universities that you actually want to go to, and apply to more, because it's a numbers game as well. So yeah.
What advice do you have to support mental health during the application period and during university studies?
Just know that rejection is redirection. It's not a reflection of your abilities. It's just potentially like the fit is not right with the university, and you'll be thankful in the end that you are not going to university where you're not a good fit at. Because in the end, you'll end up really where you're going to be the happiest at. Make sure you, as we all said, give yourself enough time, take frequent breaks. Don't forget to spend time with your friends and family. And you'll be able to get through this.
Yeah, just have fun. Like looking back, the high school, the Haileybury was probably one of the best years of my life. And you know, all this stress, it, you know, didn't really matter. Yeah, it's easy for me to say, but I mean, even if I were not in a college like Yale, I mean, there's no reason to stress over things that are not in your control. Just do the best. If you do your best, you cannot regret anything. So just know that. Yeah.
You all, like, of course, for school students right now, their biggest dream is getting into the best university. But for you right now, like, you talk about the famous alumni of your school, like president, Supreme Courts. Do you have this big dream right now? Becoming some crazy chemist or ruling the finance world?
How important ambitions are?
They are very important. You have to shoot for the stars so you can land on the clouds. Or,
It's beautiful.
yeah, however that saying goes. And just being at Yale, just it makes you have those ambitions. Because the people around you are just exceptional. It makes you want to think that you're exceptional too, even if it's not. Even if it's not. Yeah, I believe it's better to have great ambitions than not to have them. Yeah, that's how you're going to succeed. There's no other way. You have to aim high.
Yeah, and it's very inspiring. People around you at Yale, every single person has an ambition and an end goal, and that they're working really, really hard towards. And it just really inspires you to do the same. Yeah.
What is one message you would want the viewer, the listener of this podcast, to get out of this conversation?
Sorry, can I drink some?
I can't think.
Yeah, stressful.
Bear in mind that our listeners are parents, students, just random people. Maybe teachers?
Maybe your professors?
I mean, if you're a parent, probably try to comfort your child during these hard times. It's really difficult for them. Try to offer your own guidance, maybe, but don't overdo it. If you are a student watching this, again, don't stress too much. Just do your best and follow the advice that we gave you. Yeah, I have nothing else that's inspirational to say.
If it's your professor.
If it's my professor,
Yeah, he's watching you right now.
I bet he's very proud of me. I don't know what advice I can give to my professor.
Maybe you have like a code you want to share, something like aim for stars and something like that.
I think education is one of the most beautiful things in this world, and it's worth every single minute of your life to be investing in it. Sitting here, like 5 years ago, I would have never imagined that I would be where I'm at today. But with hard work, with passion, with a dream, you can truly achieve anything. Just budget your time really well, work smart, know who you are and what you want, and the doors will be open for you.
Thank you, Гаухар. Thank you, Danat, for being with us, for sharing your insight and talking about Yale and your life experience.
I hope you will visit our school, maybe this week, next week.
Maybe next year, Haileybury is going to have someone going to Yale. We'll see.
I really hope
Maybe
so.
I am.
Maybe I.
Thank you so much for the wonderful questions. I really enjoyed myself and reflecting on my time in school and at Yale. And I wish you two all the very best in this college application process, and you're going to kill it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's a great conversation that we've had today. I hope that it was useful for the people watching and for you too. And yeah, I hope that the process goes smooth for you.
Thank you.
That you get anywhere you want to. So yeah.
Thank you for watching Haileybury Connect podcast. Be so good, they cannot ignore you.